And hi Rich. Yeah, so I've been working on your lovely garden plan and thought I'd do another quick video. I think it's easier for me to just talk through stuff. So yeah, I've been working on these new kind of measurements and things. I know you've had a bit of go at cutting stuff back and tidying all this up a bit. So amazingly, this new kind of these few little changes did have quite a big impact on the design, believe it or not, because for instance this boundary here, that's not actually the edge of the house there, that's just because it's a 3D model kind of projecting up, so it actually comes in here, the fence going down, and that made this little area far too skinny and it kind of didn't work for me anymore. Once that was the first thing I did, was I sort of took all these shrubs out and put the new boundary line in, and all of a sudden this kind of lawn shape looked a bit too skinny and weird. But don't worry, I fixed it. So the other thing that kind of changed, I think you've ended up with quite a lot more room up here than we'd first thought. Um, so yeah, what happened was we ended up with all this space, and I was able to kind of reshape the lawn a little bit, and I've actually simplified it. I'm much happier with it. I know that sounds like I'm justifying, redoing the design a little bit, but looking back at this was a little bit too complex, really. I'd sort of gone a bit overboard with ins and outs. So this actually simplifies it. We've got much more lawn space. We've got a lot more depth than I thought we had. So where this bit over here was quite narrow, I've now got a much nicer shape going on, and it's just a lot more balanced. So yeah, you can sort of see the tweaks that I've done. I've made this an L-shaped lawn, and then I've worked on this corner here to get the square in. It actually worked out that this little square was to sort of go into the lawn the way I wanted it to look nice. It was too much pebble area, it was too big a square, if you get me. So I've created a secondary little seating area up here, and actually I'm quite pleased with that, because I think it's quite nice to go down the end of the garden and sit somewhere else and kind of get a different perspective on the garden. Otherwise we're always just looking from here out and from the patio out. So actually, just to have a little area here, so it's just an extension of the sets that are going around, and just done a little platform depth there in front of the tree, and you can put a little bench on there. I've put two funky little chairs on there. Also, it will help because this tree, if you want to use that existing one, and we're going to possibly, repot it, replace it, move it, sorry, not replace it, move it about to make sure it's central in that square. It's quite a diddy little tree, so you may want, it's quite handy to have another little focal point down here while that tree grows. You may even want to, if you don't want to sit there, you may even want to put like a big urn or something there, or a nice big planter full of architectural plants. So that's the change there. And then in this area on the right hand side where I'd put the little extension going out, I've actually just simplified it and gone across, but I didn't want the paving to go right the way across, because then it all just looks a bit bleh, a bit bland. So I've done a little return here of the planting beds. So we've still got interesting shapes going on, but it's just simplified the lawn shape. So I'm pleased with that, and I hope you are. What else? So this all should work now, hopefully, to these new sizes. So I've got it, if I just take my little tape measure, yeah, I think you said it was, yeah, 11.5 meters up that way, if I've got that right. And then from that corner, this sort of fence line is going to sort of nearly 12, yeah, 12 meters until it hits whatever kind of shrubs you're going to keep here. Little bit of guesswork here as to how close we are to the hedge. On this plan, we've got a bit of space there. I've sort of got 1.5 meters until I hit the hedge, but it may be that this hedge comes in a bit closer. So that's why I've put no planting or anything there, because I've got a feeling that hedge line might come in a little bit closer, but it's weird because all the other measurements work. I think you'd said it was 11 from this side of the house. Yeah, 11 metres. So if it's 11 metres at this side and 11 and a half, that means the back boundary is sloping in a little bit at an angle, if that's correct. It doesn't matter that there's a slope on there because we're squaring it off with a lawn shape, so the eye will just be drawn to that straight edge and those right angles, so nobody will tell. By the time this is all planted up, nobody will know that that comes in at an angle. It will actually look like you've got more space there. Okay, so other changes I've made. When I started putting in the paving area and colouring that up where it was going to be sandstone, I actually changed my mind about the sort of path to the little den area. I think on balance I'd overcomplicated things there as well, introducing another material. So I think, just to simplify it again and give it a stronger design, I'd like to choose just this same sandstone material and use single stone sizes in a very uniform pattern, straight line to the little den. And what I'm going to suggest is that this sandstone paving is in a random lay pattern. I think that's what you've got in the front garden. Usually it's all very standard. Usually they come in sort of 600 and variations of, so you get a 600 by 300, a 300 by 300, which is a little one, 600 by 600 and a 600 by 900. I don't know why that is, but that's just how they do it. So I've tried to kind of design this so that it fits with full sizes, if you like. So that little area there, for instance, is 65, so 65 centimetres. So that would take a, yeah, when I say 600 by 600, I'm in mils. So that would take one full slab, and hopefully I've gone out allowing for mortar joints in multiples of 3 so that that works roughly. But the builder, I mean, short of drawing on every single slab and the exact lay pattern, I think that would be kind of telling the builder how to do his job. I think, you know, landscapers know lay patterns, and you either get sandstone in 3 different sizes or 4 different sizes. So just, I'll specify on the plan that I want it to match whatever you've done at the front. But hopefully that's enough in this little corner. When you come out of your utility door, you've still got a little nook in here, Jen, if you want to sort of stand up a, you know, like a clothes area or something, one of those tall ones you could put in there, or sort of lean an area up against the wall or something if you're sort of drying off a few things and you've got all this space still. So yeah, that's how it differs from old plan. The other additions we made were putting in the sort of posts, and I think I mentioned I wanted to go square instead of round just because it's a square design. So I've done that, and I've made them all different sort of sizes and heights. Not sizes, sorry, I've put in 4x4s, which is quite a nice chunky post, sort of 10 centimetres by 10 centimetres. I think they need to be substantial to make the statement, otherwise it can look a bit flimsy and it will look a bit like a fence that's half fallen down. So we'll make them quite chunky, and I've coloured them up grey, even though, you know, for your final thing you might go dark grey, or, you know, for now just have it built and see how you feel about it in natural timber, and then, you know, you can always paint them afterwards, that's no problem. You might want these all uniform size, but when I put them in, I'll show you in a minute when I sort of bob down and do a bit of a 3D twirl around. When it was all a straight line, it looked a bit, I don't know, it worked in the circle because you've got the curve as they were going around, but once I'd put them all in a straight line, if they're all the same height, it just looked a bit weird, a little bit prison-like. So I'll show you that in a minute. And the final thing is this den area behind the sheddy, and let me show you what I had in mind for that. Oh, where's my tab? I've lost my tab. Right, okay, sorry, I had all this set up for you and then I went away and started making dinner. So what I had in mind was a living willow den. So let's have a quick look at these. Here we go. So yeah, basically I'm sure you've seen these in play areas and things. This is the kind of thing. So they're very easy to do. You literally have these coppiced stakes and you sink them into the ground, and lo and behold they keep growing and they sprout, and year after year you give them a little trim and they go mad on the top and they get very hairy, or you can keep it quite neat and tidy. You can get quite creative with the patterns when you put them in. You can spend an awful lot of money having it built professionally, but I don't think it's really necessary. I mean, some of these, I mean, wow, look at that. Look at that. Look, you can have a go at one of them if you want. But there's loads of instructions on the internet about how to put these things together. My mum and dad did one for Holly and it was fab. There you go, there's a nice simple one. So they're literally, you draw the circle in the ground, you stick your coppice sticks in the ground. When you get them, they're just twigs. There you go. That's what it looks like when you first do it. Oh, that's fancy. It's done in a spiral. That's very clever. Yeah, you can just stick them in the ground. That's a nice idea. They've put little log rounds inside. That's a nice idea. So yeah, that's kind of what I had in mind. So that's, you know, sort of down to you guys whether you fancy going for something like that. And then I know you've said that there is a kind of water tank. That's really, really bizarre. Where's it collecting the rainwater from? It's underground. Is it running off? Oh, I don't get it. Maybe it's a very clever system from your house roof line. I don't know. But if that is a massive tank under there and you need out, how do you get the water out? What's the... Am I being really dense? But what I'd thought is that we could build a kind of wooden platform. I'm wondering if your dad's got fancies a little project, Jen. Let's spin down. I'm going to bob down and show you what I have in mind. So zoom in there. This was my attempt at creating a sort of willow den, just to give you a better idea. But if we just put in a timber kind of almost like a removable lid that could be the base, that when and if and when you need access in there, there we go. Yeah, just a kind of big round. So I mean, it could be square. It doesn't have to be round. It doesn't have to be round. I just think of the willow things as being round. It doesn't have to be. But yeah, there we go. Something like that. And I'm hoping that you've still got enough room to get in your shed. I know you said, I hadn't realised the door was at the back, but you said about moving the door. I think that's going to be quite tricky. I don't know how easy it is to move the position because it's all kind of, I think the whole thing might fall apart. You might be able to change the direction that the door opens if it opens this way, to put the hinges on that side and open it that way. But yeah, I'm hoping I've sort of moved the den over a bit and up a bit. And I'm hoping you've still got room to get in there. So let me know your thoughts on that. And then this becomes, look, a fantastic jungly hideout. So it'll look quite wild. And, you know, a little shady corner, so we can have ferns and things and all bushes going a bit wild in this corner. And then in amongst this, if this is all barked, you can plant bulbs and things, so you can have daffs coming up and tulips and things, or whatever you fancy going up here. So this can be sort of quite wild and sort of jungly kind of feel. And then the rest of your garden obviously looks far more restrained and grown up. So I'll just spin it around a little bit. I've put in the border planting now. I mean, this isn't, you know, an exact planting plan or anything, but just to give you an idea how pretty this could look once all the planting's in. A bit of mixed planting, some basic shrubs. It doesn't have to be anything too fancy, some grasses. That's the little seating area under the tree, in front of the tree. So I think that's quite nice because, like I say, you can sit there in the evening perhaps, or in the morning. Give you another little view of the house from that corner. Sorry, the computer's very slow because I like whizzing it around and it doesn't like me doing it. Come on, catch up, there you go. And then the little pebble area in front of your hedge with some nice alliums and things planted in there to catch the sun. And then I've put some mad colour on the shed. I don't know if you particularly want a turquoise shed, but why the hell not? Everyone should have a turquoise shed. Look how cool that looks. Little splash of colour. Your shed actually looks in quite good nick. Looking at the pictures again, here's your view through your window. So it's really cool. You'll have like round lovely sculptural things. You'll have your water feature, little bubble jet, and then some big grasses, the hedges. I've shown you all this before. And then why not have a little splash of colour and a blackboard on it for the kids. And then I was just going to show you the posts, if I can get the other side. There we go. Right, so here's your lovely, here's your lovely trees that I think we're going for. I would say some lovely hornbeam, which are beautiful, sort of clipped shape, that very sort of street tree, structural, architectural kind of shape. And oh, come on, Ali, get a grip. Right, there we go. Now, there's the post. Look, I don't know if you think I'm going mad, but does that look better all different heights? Yeah, it does. When they were all square and all the same height, it just looked like a gappy fence. So I'm quite happy with that, like that, and that will give you a little backstop. You can put these as close or as far apart as you want. That's not a problem. So there we go. Let's just give you one more overhead view. Everything else is the same, I think. I say that, I've kind of built it from scratch because this fence line and stuff and the shapes, as I say, sort of were annoying me and I had to make it all work again. I think the pergola design, if you're happy with that, I'm happy with it, that we should keep it sort of a little bit random as well. I'm quite pleased with that. And you can put some little shelves in and stuff. Right, final view. There you go, the turquoise shed. Yeah, feel free to choose any paint colour choices of your own. Right, I'm going to put on a flashy effect here so you can see this in sort of daylight. And let's have a look. It takes a little while. There you go. Just showing the shadows. I think it's going to be beautiful. You're going to have these kind of lines, shadow lines from the pergola on the patio there, obviously. And I think something magical is going to happen with these posts, hopefully. And if you are allowed to have some lighting that aren't going to frighten off the bats, I think if you positioned a couple of clever spotlights behind these posts, you could get some lovely evening shadows coming across there, as well as the lovely dappled. Look at the lovely foliage on there. That's pretty. There we go. Sorry, you've only got half a house built at the moment, and I don't know what happened to your roof. I was going to try and do it, but you've got quite a complex thing, and I'm a beginner on this programme, so forgive me. There we go. Let me know if I've got anything wrong. Oh, look at the shadows. Sorry. Let me know if I've got anything wrong, if the dimensions still look out of whack a little bit, or if we're kind of on track now. Let me know, Rich, how much you've chopped down. This is assuming all of this is going, isn't it? I think you've had a go at that tree already. Have you taken that tree down? And there was a big bush there. Or are we keeping the bush? Is that still going to manage there? I'm not sure. It looks to me like we're sort of, you know, clearing out all of this on this design now. Sorry, my memory is terrible. I think I've covered everything from your points in emails and texts and things, but no worries if I haven't, I've still got time to make changes and what have you. So this is just the model, and then the next stage, if everything is okay and you give me the go ahead, then I create all the layout spreadsheets for the build with all the specifications and build instructions and stuff like that. So really this is kind of final call for any changes before we put those sheets together. Oh, and thanks very much for your payment. I got that yesterday. Um, so thank you very much for my deposit payment, and have a lovely weekend, guys. Chat to you soon. Bye.